welcome back to the show. This is Moviecase, episode 2, Sci-Fi edition.
My favorite.
Yeah, my not so favorite. As I said in the last podcast, I'm more about the relationships that are between people, and often in sci-fi films, there is not a relationship to be had.
Yeah.
Normally, it's like, oh shit, we gotta run away from aliens.
Yeah. Shoot them off.
Yeah.
Big explosions, lots of vehicles.
Yeah. Yeah, now I would be remiss if I didn't bring up The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951. That is a classic. There's also a few called The Hand. That was a sci-fi film, kind of strange. There was one called The Fury with Kirk Douglas. That was interesting. Saturn III with Kirk Douglas. So these are Kirk Douglas films that are sci-fi. None of them are particularly good, but that's okay. They don't have to be. You know, Kirk Douglas does a great performance. There's same with John Cassavetes in The Fury. But then, there's in to some extent we can say that Spider-Man, that franchise, is sci-fi. So let's start with that.
Okay. With the Amazing Spider-Man, the most recent?
No. Let's start with the Tobey Maguires.
Okay.
Tobey Maguires. I will say up front that I loved the first two in that series. The third one, I think they dropped the ball.
I agree with that.
Again, great acting from the people in it, but the story just wasn't what it should have been.
Right.
And it seemed a little bit too sulky for me. I mean, even the Hulk, again, sci-fi, is sulky for me. But I like the Ed Norton one. I don't like the other one.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk for a minute about the Spider-Man, so we don't go too far.
Yeah, great special effects when it came out in theaters. Remember that? Yeah. With the swinging scenes and Spider-Man prompting himself on top of what was it, the Empire State Building. Yep, with the flag. Classic cinematography there, and picture capture. Okay. That was like the slogan for Spider-Man for a while. Marvel.
Yeah, the CGI on that was great. And it was nice to see Stan Lee make the cameos that he does. I love Stan Lee. He's so fun. I have fun because my dad can never remember what Stan Lee looks like. So I'll be sitting in a movie theater. Dad, look, there's Stan Lee. What?
It's like, where's Waddle?
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah, Spot the Creator. Yeah. That's what they should really call this, Spot the Creator. Yeah. So anyway. He was also in... what was it? Thor.
Yeah.
And he was in the Avengers. And he was in The Amazing Spider-Man. And a few others that aren't particularly coming to mind at the moment. I think the Iron Man stuff he was in as well. But he's great fun. Kevin Smith loves him to death. But... don't take my word for it. Go listen to smodcast.com, free podcast, and or the Smodco Internet Radio. They're great fun podcasts about that stuff. And you can hear the geeking out in Hollywood Babylon, which is, I guess, we're a cheap knockoff of that, without the star power, I guess. But boy, wouldn't it be fun to get this to the point where we could be interviewing celebs?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mentioned last episode Drew Perlman.
Yes.
He and I will be doing some of these, and he's an indie filmmaker. So, I can start there with stuff and hopefully build, but we'll see. So anyway, Spider-Man.
Yes.
The CGI was great.
Yeah.
Acting was good.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst. I think stole the show in the second one.
I agree.
Yeah, the first one, she's great eye candy. But how many times can you see Spidey zip off before you go, wait, I never see Peter Parker and Spider-Man at the same time.
Yeah.
Could it be?
Right.
Which is why I like The Amazing Spider-Man even more.
Yeah.
So let's talk. What are your thoughts on the original Spider-Man trilogy?
Well, I thought the dynamism, if you will, between Kirsten Dunst and Tobey Maguire was great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I like the swinging scenes, as we mentioned, the cinematography. Mm-hmm. And I thought as a drama, it kind of carried itself very well. And there was, who was the actor that played his father? I forget.
You mean grandfather?
Yeah, grandfather. Sorry. I know, I was struggling too.
Clifton Roberts or something like that.
Yeah. That their interactions were great and very moving, I thought. At least to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was good. Interesting to compare Clifton to Martin Sheen.
Yes.
Who is related to, guess who? I'll give you a hint, Anchor Management and Wall Street and 2.5 Men.
Mm.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And Emilio Estevez, who you remember from The Breakfast Club.
Yes. Yeah.
And Martin Sheen in his own right was good. The Departed and Apocalypse Now. Mm-hmm. Have you seen Apocalypse Now?
Yeah, parts of it.
Okay.
On TV.
Yeah, I'll have to do the deluxe edition of that and the documentary about that.
Yeah.
So, but make sure you set aside 5 hours because we're going to do those.
It's a long one, yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to do those back to back.
Wow.
So anyway, where are we going?
Martin Sheen and
yeah. So that was an interesting comparison. Now, what did you think of, let's say, Tobey Maguire versus I can never remember the guy's name.
Yeah, up and coming actor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie.
It's on the third shelf down. Over towards the... Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
Andrew Garfield.
Garfield, you got it. I didn't even need to grab the movie. You have it all in your mind.
Yeah, I hate this curse I have. I've got the memory of an elephant, and I'm slowly getting the
sometimes it's hard to get it off the tongue, huh?
Yeah.
Much for that.
Yeah. No, you want to know how I remembered who was in it? I had to remind myself, God, he's dating Emma Stone. What's his name?
Yeah.
And that's how it hit my head.
Oh. When did they start dating? During the movie?
During
the show. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I like Andrew Garfield's character better, I thought. It was probably more... I haven't read the comics thoroughly, but from what I understand from people who have, he was more true to the character.
Right. Well, also Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone, who I love, as I said in the last podcast. She's not dumb.
Right.
Kristen Dunst.
No pun intended.
No, Dunst hint.
We won't be interviewing her in the future.
No, right. But I mean in terms of the character.
Yes.
I don't mean to imply that Kristen Dunst is dumb. Because, no, she's very bright. She's good with the roles she chooses. She does a great job every time out.
Yes.
But, let's face it, the character she was playing had to be a bit of a dunce. I wonder if that's...
I kept thinking like Barbie dollish, ditzy, blonde, all the stereotypes.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. all the blondes I know are smarter than the guys that I know. Yeah. Drives me nuts. Yeah. The only time that might have been true. No, I won't say that actually. That's kind of mean.
Okay. All right.
I'll tell you when we're not recording.
Okay.
So anyway.
Emma Stone was definitely, she played a much smarter girlfriend for Peter Parker.
Yeah. Yeah, and the part was better written, I think.
I agree.
I can forgive a certain amount of lunacy when it comes to it having people not necessarily know, but I like the fact that when she sees him jump off the edge of the building after kissing her, she goes, "Oh boy, I'm in trouble."
Yeah, kind of like what do you call them, a little speech to the audience. Acknowledging, like, oh yeah, you are in trouble.
yeah. Well, I think that was the knowing wink at the audience.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I forget what the term is called.
Yeah. But Time Dark is also foreshadowing to some extent.
Yeah.
That noise that you just heard is me plugging my cell phone in onto the charger.
It wasn't him licking his chops or anything.
No. No, that would sound more like this. Anyway.
Which is what Spidey did with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
In both movies.
Yeah, well, I find that that's a bad habit that people get into when they're in a relationship. Take you, for example.
It's not.
Let's see.
It's about time that I...
Yeah. No, but, so, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That leads into all these other ones, like Thor, where there's some science fiction.
Yeah.
Briefly, Natalie Portman never looked better.
I agree. Which is why they're making another one with her.
Right. And I cannot wait for that. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's done shooting and stuff. It's in post-production. It'll be released this November.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be so good.
I agree.
Now that they're done with the Twilights, I can concentrate on that.
If I may have a little side note.
Yes.
Audience, please do not watch the South Park episode with Natalie Portman and Thor with the allusion to that movie. I just want to say that. My brother made the mistake of showing me that.
Yeah, that just ruins your image of her.
Right.
The Men in Black 3, that's another sci-fi series.
That was great. I wasn't expecting. They had a good twist at the end.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it in case you haven't seen it. But highly recommended if you've been away from the series in a while. Yeah,
I say that what happened with that series is the first one came out like Game Busters and was a hit.
Mm-hmm.
Great job all around. Second one, what the hell? You dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And then the third one, you're right on par, if not slightly better than the first.
Yep.
And Will Smith is in top form in the first and the third, and same thing with Tommy Lee.
His career is hitting like a, what do you call it,
resurgence.
Revival or resurgence, as you mentioned, and he's coming out with all these other sci-fi movies with his own son too, like After Earth and
his son was in The Karate Kid with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
By the way, do you hear Jackie Chan retired from action films?
No, I didn't. I thought. Well, the last movie I saw that he did was his 100th movie, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh man, why can't I remember things when I need to? It was about the war in China. Anyway, it's a number in it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't know he retired from movies. I mean, he did such a great job in that movie too.
Well, oh no, he didn't retire from movies.
Oh, from action movies.
Yeah. But yet he's rumored to be slated for Rush Hour 4.
Oh, really?
Rush Hour 4.
4, yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
I almost said 3. I know that the third one's out because it has Roman Polanski. Hello.
Wow. And Chris Tucker was the other.
Yeah, Chris
So he's coming back too?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Assuming that they make it. I think they'd have to bring him back. But Chris Tucker was in Silverline's Playbook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he plays Bradley Cooper's demented friend. You'll like him. He's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not spoiling.
I have to say, I like Chris Tucker as an actor. I know he doesn't always do the best movies, but he's a funny guy.
Yeah, no, he's great fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, now we've compared the Spider-Mans.
Yes.
We did a little bit on Thor.
Yeah.
By the way, 3D and CGI was great in that. Same thing with Captain America and the Avengers.
And they're making a sequel to Captain America. It's like
Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier,
yeah. And then they got I think it's Thor: The Dark World.
Yes.
And
Avengers
2.
2.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah. And there's rumors of Men in Black 4.
Yeah. Iron Man is done. Is that right?
I think it should be.
But
I have a feeling that they'll resurrect it because of how successful it was.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that they're going to resurrect it. I hope they stop where they did because they brought the character to a logical conclusion.
Yeah.
And okay, so you can still do the comic books and have it be this whole other thing, but by the same token, come on. And how many times can you buy a nearly 50-year-old Robert Downey Jr. flying around, getting the shit kicked out of him for half the movie?
And then kicking the shit out of other people for the other half.
Yeah. And each one was over 2 hours.
Yeah, like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yes, so you're talking about like 6 hours minimum for that series.
Right.
Plus the previews that you have to sit through.
Wow. Yeah, which is like 40 minutes these days. It can be up to that.
Yeah, that's 15.
At least 15.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes. It's 40 if you count the 20 before that.
Yeah.
But oh my God, that's the thing that pisses me off. They put the
aside, everybody.
Yeah, this is aside. They put all the freaking previews on Blu-rays now and on DVDs. I don't need that.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, initial Blu-rays didn't really have too many previews, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh, Blu-rays are becoming mainstream now, so we're gonna really hit them hard.
Right. But notice that sometimes it's trailers for other films that had nothing to do with...
Right, yeah, there's no logic to it.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just like, here's what we want to draw your attention to.
Yeah.
Yeah, for crying out loud. Like, if you buy Hugo, there's previews for a few movies that's like, okay, at least they had the PG rating.
Yeah, but when we watched The Oranges the other day, which you can speak more to, because you've seen it a few times. They had how many previews? I couldn't even remember.
It was like 7.
Yeah, at least 7. Yeah.
Yeah. That drove me bonkers. That's why I kept hitting the next button to get through that.
Yeah.
I love the movie The Oranges, and we can talk about that in another podcast.
Sure.
But the career of Hugh Laurie, that's what we'll do. Because it's so wide and so much to get into with house and stuff. Anyway, so we're back to Sci-Fi.
Sure.
Sci-Fi. So we got the fact that there's all these sci-fi films that have been made. Now, let's go to the quintessential 3.
Okay.
Or 4. Predator.
Yeah.
And Aliens.
Yeah.
We'll start with those 2, and then we'll move to Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah, I have to say the first Predator was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that W in there.
Right. That was it.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean...
Your quintessential guy movie.
One of them, yeah. Yeah, because you can't discount the Terminator series, which is another one with him, and another sci-fi epic.
But it's like at least a teenage boy's dream, going out into the jungle with your friends and shooting up aliens. Maybe not the way it ends, but...
Well, we all gotta go sooner or later.
Right. But yeah, big guns. Scary alien. It was all...
Yeah.
All fun.
Yeah. So, that's Predator.
Yeah.
That ties in with the Alien series from the Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Right.
So let's do the Alien vs. Predator 2 films.
Okay.
I did not care for either of them.
I am with you on that.
I particularly did not like Alien vs. Predator 2.
Yeah.
And, ladies and gentlemen, if you have sensitive ears, don't listen to me for the next minute. Skip ahead.
Okay.
There's a scene in the maternity ward where a freaking alien goes in and impregnates a woman who's pregnant with an alien fetus. That alien fetus pops out of her stomach where the kid is. Yeah. And it comes out of the kid's stomach as well. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
And it's sick. And you see what we can assume to be the phallus of the thing going down her mouth.
Yeah.
That was uncalled for.
Yeah. And obviously left a mark in the audience, us included. You know that image, right?
Yeah.
Not something you want to think about or...
Yeah. Tangential note.
Yeah.
I was talking to somebody at Burlington College, and there's this woman, Heidi Berkowitz, I've talked about on other podcasts, who was pregnant at the time of the story. And I was talking to this girl who had just talked to Heidi, and she was telling me that she just said to Heidi that, mind you, this pregnant woman she was talking to, she said, to me, kids look like aliens. And they're so weird looking. They got big head, big eyes, disproportionate to the rest of their body and stuff. And apparently Heidi Berkowitz flipped out on her. And she goes, I don't understand how that happened. I said, well, gee, let me think a minute. All you did was tell the woman that she's got something that resembles an alien coming out of her, and you have to do that the year after, or a couple of years after Alien vs. Predator, Requiem. That's not good timing.
No.
But she was laughing hysterically. I was like, anyway. Disturbing, disgusting.
Yeah. Just erase that one from your library if you have it, please.
Yeah,
do the world a favor.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't think anybody should.
And I don't think they should make a sequel to that either.
No.
But hopefully they're not. No. Hopefully they learn their lesson.
Yeah, you would hope, but I figure 50 years from now.
For the first one, I mean, I watched it with my brother and my dad, and it's a popcorn movie. But it's not something that you want to buy necessarily. It's just like you sit through it, on a rainy day, and it's like, oh, whatever. I don't think it does anything for the canon. I don't even know if it is part of the canon.
It is. Yeah. It's the link between, as I said, the aliens.
So it is official.
Yeah. But let's transition now because I think we've said everything that we can say that's nice or mean about that. Yeah. Let's go into the alien stuff. My feeling on those is that the movies are classics as a genre, but for the life of me, I don't like them. They're boring to me. They're boring. And, something where you have to wait till 45 minutes before the end of the movie before you see the monster. Yeah. What are you doing? You just wasted like an hour.
Yeah, I think it appeals to like a cult audience, which I don't really consider myself part of. I mean, I enjoyed the movies, but they were kind of slow, so I can empathize to that point. I think its impact was more so on like the type of monster that it was conveying. You know, no eyes, just a big scary mouth and weird contours and creepy. You know, don't really know what it is exactly, and I think that was the kind of fear. It's trying to like play with your imagination.
Right, but then if you look at Prometheus as being a prequel to that of sorts, the same kind of problem exists.
Yeah, the aliens were like bioweapons, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Prometheans or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's not that it's a bad movie, but it's again slow moving.
It is.
You know, I like Ridley Scott. Give you a couple of instances of that. In my attic, the room above my room, there is a box of Blu-rays that I have up there, and in it there is a Gladiator. Down here in my room, there is Robin Hood, and there is one called let's see, what was the other one? Robin Hood.
Can you describe it?
I'm going nuts trying to figure out Robin Hood. There's another one.
Robin Hood's the one with Russell Crowe.
Yeah. Okay, I'm drawing a blank, but anyway, I've got at least 2 of his movies.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince my dad to get Black Rain, which was another one of his. Oh, I know what it was. It was Legend.
Oh, yeah.
The director's cut and theatrical cut on Blu-ray. Ultimate Edition is what it's called.
Yeah, that's with Tom
Cruise and Tim Curry.
Yep.
By the way, did you hear about Tim Curry?
No.
Had a stroke the other day.
Oh. Sorry to hear that.
67 years old. He's still alive, but he had a stroke.
Damage.
Yeah. Well, they're saying that he had a major stroke, and there's conflicting reports on it. One says he had a stroke back in July of last year, and he's still going to therapy, and he's doing wonderfully, he's in good spirits, and he can speak normally. In the other one, it says it just happened this past Thursday, and he he's at home resting comfortably, he's in good spirits, and his voice is okay. So either way, his voice is presumably okay, if we can believe either of those reports, but there's just some confusion as to when he had the stroke. Yeah, but anyway.
About Legend.
Yeah, get better soon, Tim Curry, I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Legend, that's another sci-fi fantasy film. My dad thinks that Legend has the best looking devil that he's ever seen. I personally think that Al Pacino is the best looking devil I've ever seen. But then again, that's because I like the idea of the devil taking a human form and tempting people in like daily kind of conversations. It's supposed to be this big mythical creature with a big tail and horns and stuff.
Imagination gone wild, so to speak.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, because I believe that there's many forms of evil, and they're not all supernatural. Although that could explain some random shit that's happened to me. Anyway, so I guess from that we go back to the aliens.
Yes.
Ridley Scott and James Cameron, I like those two as directors, but for the life of me, I cannot stand those 2 movies.
Do you own them?
No.
No.
I've got other works by James Cameron and other works by Ridley Scott, as I said, but I got all the Terminators.
They just kind of like I was trying to say, they serve to like make a new subgenre within sci-fi horror.
Yeah.
I think, or suspense, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Well, it's sci-fi horror. Yeah.
Kind of a cult following.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, by the same token, though, there's other cult movies that are better, like Hands of the Ripper, or House of Wax, the Vincent Price one.
Yes.
The Last Man on Earth, again, Vincent Price. There was a few that he did in 3D. The Bad Magician. So forth and so on.
Oh, wow.
As a way of transitioning to, Twilight, and we're going to get over to the other two, I promise, because we're going to move very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do I Am Legend. I Am Legend is a remake of a movie called The Last Man on Earth, which in turn is based on the book I Am Legend. And I didn't like it. I liked Last Man on Earth. I did not like I Am Legend. But it got great reviews.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yeah, I thought it was another popcorn movie that was entertaining. I thought Will Smith did a good job. It certainly was very suspenseful, and actually to the point where my own brother can't see the movie anymore. It's just, they did a great job with like the pop out, scare effects and tactics of the monsters, and a lot of dark scenes in it. I remember, like Pitch Black. It's been a while since I've seen it, but nothing special in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
So that
the German Shepherd dog was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that, but I think he ended up dying in it. Spoilers, sorry.
Okay.
It's close to home because I had a German Shepherd myself.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, every time I see a Border Collie, I always think of my old dog, Maggie.
Yeah. Sweetheart.
Yeah, I miss her. But we got a new dog, Emma. She's cute. She's a pill, but she's cute.
And doesn't like me yet.
No. Well, she doesn't like much of anybody, really. But she loves all of us because we're there all the time, so she's really happy.
Yeah.
But she just feels like any visitors are going to attack her, and she wants to protect her humans.
Yeah.
She hasn't yet figured out that people aren't going to hurt her.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah, so it's more out of fear that she barks than out of anything else.
Yeah.
Which, if you looked carefully, you can see the hair standing up on her neck. Anyway, speaking of dogs and stuff, that transitions nicely into Twilight.
Oh.
So I say that because the vampires, played by Robert Pattinson and company, it referred to Taylor Lautner's game of quote-unquote werewolves, which they're actually more shapeshifters, as dogs.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, a fun series, but it drove Catholics nuts. I know that. Now here's the funny part. Somebody said to me at one point, anybody that worked on the Twilight films is going to hell.
No.
I said, really? Even the director? And they go, yeah. I said, no, that's funny because the director of the first Twilight directed the Nativity Story.
Yeah.
I'd shut him up.
Yeah. I think a lot of the criticism from the Catholic perspective is because it really romanticized to teenagers the whole vampire legacy, or whatever you want to call it, nature and all that stuff.
Right.
And they thought it would bring about some confusion about, sexuality and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, the vampire genre, going as far back as Dracula, is very sexualized.
It is, but I was just meaning, like, each generation kind of creates its own culture
Right.
Builds off the previous generations, and Twilight was the vampire culture for this, or vampire, culture for this generation.
Yeah.
And so it's not saying that, this was the beginning of the romanticization and sexualization, but it was just a continuance for our generation that conformed to it.
Right.
And so, it's just like history repeats itself. And so I think some of the criticism is warranted, being Catholic myself, but I don't go so extreme as to say everybody's going to hell and things like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say this as a qualifier. Yeah. As a thing of believing in God, which some people call sci-fi, and leave them alone at the moment. The idea of something as demonic as a vampire or zombies or whatever. Yeah, okay, I can understand the fear of people enjoying that kind of stuff. But to me, where it loses me is that at the end of the day, it's sci-fi / fantasy, and they always have the option of not seeing it. Nobody's holding a gun to their head saying, you're going to watch this movie. Like I am with you in the movies I loaned you for this podcast.
One exception.
Yeah. But
that's because I need that kind of prompting. If you know me, it
Right.
takes me a while to get around to stuff, and I'm very forgetful. So.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, but I don't want to spend too long on Twilight. I'll just say that they're good films for what they came from. They're soap operas in novel form. I loved number 2 the most. That's New Moon. I think the third made the best movie, but the best one was number 2. And I'm going to get the other 3 books in paperback. I've got them on audio CD, but I'm going to get the paperbacks because they're cheap.
Yeah. These days you need to be cheap because everything's inflated now. So. Yeah,
well, I'd rather pay $7.99 for the paperbacks, mass market edition, than pay something like $30 for the box set of all of them.
Yeah.
That's just ridiculous. So anyway, we've talked about science as it pertains, science fiction as it pertains to Spider-Man. We've talked about that as it pertains to
Alien Predators.
Alien Predators legend, the vampires, and from that we go back to space creatures.
Okay.
And space creatures we're looking at are Star Wars versus Star Trek.
Oh.
There's a great debate between people.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith is on the side of Star Wars. There's other people I know that are on the side of Star Trek. I'm kind of in the middle.
I agree.
I like both series for different reasons. The difference is, between you and I, as far as I can tell at the moment, is that I am not a diehard Star Wars fan. I do not remember all the dialogue from the movies, and also I was kind of just bland on the sequel to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Okay.
But that said, what say you about these things?
Yep.
Broad terms, and I'll get into nitty gritty.
Yeah, sure. So Star Wars made a big impact on my childhood. I saw the special editions that were released around,
97,
98 in theaters. They were one of the first movies in theaters I remember seeing. And I was just blown away by all the characters, Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher and
Harrison
Ford and I even like the Lando Calrissian guy from episode 5. or the Empire Strikes Back. But anyway.
Yeah, but also remember, we can't mention Star Wars without saying that Peter Cushing, who played Sherlock Holmes and a couple of things, was one of the guys that gets killed by Vader in New Hope.
Interesting. Yeah. But overall, I think it's just it's a great epic for people who like the sci-fi genre. Because you have the characters visiting lots of worlds, and there's a great epic battle between good and evil. There's family drama in there, between Luke and his father and his sister. Yeah.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Sorry, I revert back to childhood every now and again.
Lots of cool aircraft and landcraft with hovers and Y-wing and all that. The Death Star, I mean, it's got a lot of stuff going for it, and it opened up like a huge imaginative world that's, has a huge canon now, at least in the books, and soon to be in the movies, since the recent acquisition by Disney of the franchise.
Yeah. Well, we also have to say that Mel Brooks did a fantastic job spoofing it with Spaceballs.
Spaceballs, I agree. Yep. And it's also interesting to note that George Lucas wasn't really planning on it being a big hit. He thought it was kind of a side job, and it's just interesting how it turned out to be the baseline for his career, really.
Yeah. Or what else has he done? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he says he likes all those artsy movies, at least from some of the interviews I've listened to.
Right, but I mean, look at his career. The bulk of it has been Star Wars.
Right. Star Wars based. Yeah.
Yeah, and what's more, Lucas, even if he wasn't directing, had some hand in crafting the story visually.
Yeah.
And he's so-so as a director, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think
some really good scenes, some not so good.
Yeah, the biggest gaffe, according to people on the internet, was
the new trilogy.
The new trilogy, yeah. But more in particular, Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah. There's a lot of hate websites out there, and even video games where you can kind of assassinate Jar Jar Binks solely.
Yeah, no, I like Jar Jar, though. I thought it was fun comedic abilities.
Yeah, it was.
And by the way, do you still do the impression of Jar Jar?
No, I lost that, and especially after my tonsil surgery, I've lost some of my ability to do voices. Yeah, I used to be able to imitate him, what was it, when I was in middle school, high school, early high school?
Yeah.
Then I kind of switched over to Gollum for a while, and now it's kind of neither. I haven't really practiced it, but, it's probably back in the recesses of my vocal cords.
Well, give it a whirl now.
Oh, no. Right now?
Yeah.
Jar Jar Binks?
Yeah. These are your humble servants.
Yeah. Me's the cow Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, there you go.
Is it good?
You still got it.
Oh, yeah. Me's your humble servant.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
It used to be really good, though.
Yeah, but
it's still there, I guess.
Yeah, it's still there. But let's see. That also kind of sounds like Gollum, so that's how you can do Gollum. I'll show you Gollum.
Oh, okay. My precious. You stupid habitues. You fat one. That's when he's talking to Sam, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can hear, ladies and gentlemen, just how close those are.
Yeah.
That it's very easy to slip into one.
Right.
Like if you do a Truman Capote, if you do a Truman Capote voice, it's a very hard thing. If you do Truman Capote, you can slip into Dick Cavett. I'm not good with either voice because it strains my vocal cords. I can barely do Jerry Lewis. But,
that'll tear your vocal cords, won't it?
Huh?
That'll tear your vocal cords if you do that too often.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm holding my throat now after that. God.
Take a sip of your Bass,
Yeah.
But yeah, Jar Jar was a fun comedic relief, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Star Trek, let's go there next.
Oh yeah, with the most recent ones. I mean, my brother knows a lot more than I, so maybe he should talk sometime with you on a podcast about it. He's watched all of the original series. I haven't seen any of them.
Well, let's do
the new one.
Well, let's do the podcast specifically on the
Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, I most recently saw in IMAX the Into Darkness
in 3D.
In 3D, which I thought was excellent from a sci-fi action adventure perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a great cast to fit the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any of the actors' names, unfortunately. I can tell you what other movies some of them have been in.
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
He played Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
I can never think of the guy that plays Spock. I know Leonard Nimoy had a cameo, and it's his last movie.
Yeah. Then they had the guy from Shaun of the Dead and...
Simon Pegg.
Pegg, yeah. I like his character a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, wasn't he also in Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz, yep.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to help his career a lot.
Yeah.
Go a little more mainstream.
Yeah, it's just I can't see them doing more than another two of the thing. It seems like they're grasping at straws with this one.
Yeah, they're, from what I understand from my brother, they're reimagining some of the original movies that they made.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, and they're taking elements from the TV series, the original TV series.
Right.
I don't want to do any spoilers with the newest one, unless you want to.
Oh, Bauman's great.
Oh, yeah. So the villain ends up being Khan.
Uh-huh.
I guess a reimagined version of Khan, played by Cumberbatch, who was recently in the Sherlock Holmes. Was it PBS?
Yeah.
Yeah, PBS series, which was, I thought, good in itself, but not the greatest Holmes.
Yeah, well, it's PBS in the U.S. It's BBC in
BBC. Yeah.
Britain.
Yeah.
Or England.
But yeah, I thought he personally stole the show as a villain. He was very cold and...
Yeah, but he also did a very good job crying on cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made authentic
it was natural,
tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that stupid face that you see everybody scrunch up and then tears start rolling.
Right. It was like a kind of tears of insanity, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, really well done. Very flashy movie, though. If you know J.J. Abrams, prepare to put some shades on if you're affected by flashing lights. And he likes to use the bright lights and crazy cinematography, action scenes and stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of explosions and.
Yeah, that could give you seizures.
Yeah.
It then struck me that the 3D was a nice touch on the new one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they could re-release the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek in 3D and make more money that way.
Yeah.
But I think story-wise, I liked the first J.J. Abrams better.
Yeah.
I've seen a few of the episodes of the TV series, and I like the Leonard Nimoy, and I like William Shatner.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved Patrick Stewart in the later incarnation of the TV series and the movie films stuff. However, I will say this, that I did not buy the Klingons quite so well in the new one.
Yeah, I agree with that point. They seem to come out of nowhere. I don't know.
Yeah. And some of them had the scaly...
Oh, you mean from an artistic perspective? Like the makeup and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay. Some of them had the heads that you would imagine.
Yeah.
But the main villain guy didn't have that strange facial head.
Yeah.
He had like a regular human face.
Right.
And that to me, I think, was one of the fatal flaws of the movie, is that they didn't give him a discernible look like the other ones.
Right. Yeah. I guess they would make the excuse that it was like the serum he was injecting in himself changes his characteristics, his phenotype. But yeah, it is a stretch. Yeah.
I'd say it's a far reach.
Yeah.
Something akin to, let's say, cutting a break in The Thin Man for some of the holes that were created in the original movie.
Yeah.
It's still a 4-star movie.
Yeah.
It's just there's some major plot holes.
Yeah, sure. But I think it is a fresh reimagination of Star Trek. Yeah. And I know a lot of the fans are really happy with it. So, it's good for the franchise. Yeah. And entertaining for those like myself who just like sci-fi movies in general, not the B ones, but the ones that come out as blockbusters. And it's just a fun movie to go see.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So I guess we've kind of run the course on
sci-fi movies.
Those kind of sci-fi movies. Yeah. I think we can briefly touch on some of the earlier ones that we just kind of glossed over at the beginning, and bring it full cycle that way.
Like Thor and Captain America?
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of the Day the Earth Stood Still, classic alien invasion kind of things. The most modern incarnation of that was Mars Attacks. And I liked Mars Attacks.
Mm-hmm. Now, wasn't Natalie Portman in that too?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, her, Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Tom Jones.
Yeah. Great cast now that you mention it. It's been a long time since I saw that movie.
It's not unusual.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, funny joke on that. This is true. Sorry. A friend of mine, who will remain nameless, just because I like her, I don't want to piss her off by saying her name. I was IMing with her at one point, and this is a year and change ago, talking to her, and she said, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" She goes, "And my mom's singing and dancing to Tom Jones." Without missing a beat, I wrote back and said, "I'm guessing that's not unusual."
Bet she likes you after that comment.
Oh, she gave me the laugh out loud and laughing my ass off. It's like, okay.
You handed it to me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I think is hysterical. People hear my pop culture jokes. They hear, these stupid little wizisms that I have, and they say something to the effect of, "Oh my God, you're terrible." And then I say, "Well, what does it say about you that you're laughing?"
That you're worse than terrible?
Yeah. Yeah, well, if I'm terrible for making the joke, imagine how they are for laughing at it.
I know, yeah.
The other day I'm watching the Smurfs, first movie, speaking of sci-fi, with Drew Perlman and his son. Yeah. And his son's cute, 4-ish, maybe 5 now. Yeah. But anyway, he's a little character in of himself. I'll spare some of the stories that I have, but we were watching the movie, and the bad guy is white in the movie. Okay, so and he's human. Yeah. So he goes It's a warlock technically, but
yeah.
not that. So anyway, towards the end of the movie, spoilers, he gets projected out from some place where he cast a spell and it backfired. He goes flying, and when he gets to the other side of where he lands in a pile of garbage. So I turned to Perlman, or Drew, if you prefer, and I said, I guess that's what they call white trash. I'm notorious for bad puns on those kind of things. But sometimes you just can't pass up a good opportunity.
I agree with you.
So I guess, I liked Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
I like those kind of alien invasion films, but I don't like these like mechanical alien invasion films that have been coming out, like Battlefield LA or.
Yeah, and as we were mentioning, we didn't like Falling Skies. The monsters are mechanical. This is what we can tell so far in the series. We're only about 10 episodes in or so, but yeah, there's like no personality, right?
Right.
And it really relies heavily on the actors to carry that personality, and usually the dynamics for these and budgets for these movies are not so great. So,
right.
It's nice when you have a a movie that's kind of like self-aware, like Mars Attacks. I would think is kind of self-aware, like stupid.
Yeah, but
fun it is.
Yeah, but they also had the great director Tim Burton on it.
Right, and you have Ghostbusters and stuff, which kind of goes along that too.
Yeah, who are you gonna call Ghostbusters?
Right.
Now that song's gonna be stuck in our heads. But I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I like the knowing winks at the audience.
Mm-hmm.
In the script that I said I wrote in the last one, I have a lot of knowing winks at the audience. Like the character that I would like to see Jerry Lewis play, named Jerry, in the script, says at one point, on my telethon, something or other, and the guy that I want Dick Van Dyke to play says to him, "May I remind you that it's only your show if you're on it." Yeah, I wrote Lewis's character as being an asshole, based on all the stories I had heard. Then I saw him, and I was right.
Rightfully so.
I will say this: I really respect him as a comedian, but as a human being, I like him about as much as I like a cockroach in my bed. You know what I'm saying? And no cracks about me being a cockroach while we're on the subject.
Point taken.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we've exhausted ourselves on the point of sci-fi films, unless we come up with something else, or we let your brother go off at the mouth about.
Right, Star Trek.
Yeah. So
he's going through his phase right now. Kind of like when I went through my phase in Star Wars, where I was watching it almost every other day, it seemed.
Yeah, well, let's set something up with him so we can do that. In the meantime, this has been Moviecase Episode 2, Sci-Fi Edition. I'm Nate Taves.
And Thomas Sawyer.
Thank you for listening, and see you on the next one, I hope.